This podcast is hosted by Jean AUBRY, a senior business manager specializing in procurement.
Good afternoon, Miss Alessia FERRARI. Thank you for being with us today. It's really nice to have you. I would like to point out, first of all, that you are speaking on your behalf and not on the behalf of your company or former employers. So to begin with, I would like to hear a short resume of your career. So in 2 minutes, who are you?
Okay, so first of all, as well, thank you for hosting me here today. Good afternoon to you,
Pleasure.
Jean. So I describe myself an engineer with a passion for procurement. That's sort of, the one line that I think best describe me. So I am a civil engineer as background. That's also, what I was doing in the first part of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, I was enjoying, the engineering career. I was in the US working, so that was also bringing a little bit of diversity lens. I'm originally from Italy, so and then after a while, I felt that the very technical career was as enjoyable as it was something that I felt was missing some elements of learning for me. So I left the US, I did an MBA, and I joined procurement by chance. I had no clue what procurement was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I joined procurement as starting in the category of construction and capital equipment.
For which company was it, if you want to?
For Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, okay.
And that was for me, if I would have to put it on paper, the best way to enter in procurement, coming from, leveraging your sort of expertise in one category, let's say, but now sitting on the other side of the table. And I will always be grateful to the colleagues that really made that choice of me to really enter in that part of procurement, because since then procurement became a passion for me.
Okay, thank you. If we focus more on the personal part, do you have kids? What can you say to us?
Yes, so I'm married to an Italian, and we have two beautiful little boys of one almost 2 years and the other one almost 5 years. So our lives are rather busy, at work and at home.
Okay, I know what you mean. It's pretty much the same for me. Okay. If your friends and colleagues had to describe you in one sentence, what would they say about you?
Very passionate,
Mm-hmm.
and energetic, empathic as well. I think that probably would be two words that I think my friends and colleagues could relate to.
Okay, that's the same adjectives I got. So yes.
Okay, voilà.
But I will come back to it just later.
Yes.
How are you in the office and how are you at home?
So I'm between office and home. I'm wearing two different roles, two different hats: mommy and wife at home, and then a professional in the office. That said, I think I remain genuine to myself in both roles, trying to really, pass through the energy that I support me in either the job that I do or my responsibilities at home, and really transmit values, which of course are different values depending on the context. But then basically that's really my mission. Really to be a little bit that kind of coach, if you will, and guide the team or my kids. Well, my husband probably a little bit less guidance. He's guiding himself. Through the core values that I believe on.
Okay. I was told that you bring always a lot of positive energy to teams, whatever what happens. How do you do that?
So I I think I remember once at a certain point in my career, I came across a leader that said something that resonates with me since, that says, it's important that a leader acts cool in a moment of crisis.
Okay.
So I really try to keep, if there is a crisis, to make sure that somehow, we manage the crisis through facts, through figures, in a pragmatic way, but without letting emotions to impact that. So if, there is a positive energy, I try to, have that come across, throughout, whether, we are living, a moment of, that is more difficult or not. But of course, that doesn't mean that I don't act with sense of urgency in times of crisis, but it's really about, separating a little bit emotions from facts.
Okay.
And managing accordingly. Yeah.
Okay. I was also told that you don't do politics at work. How can you become a CPO not doing any politics at all?
So, I think it's really, what is politics? Politics is stakeholders management. And I do a lot of stakeholders management. So, if someone says, you don't do politics, well, maybe I remain transparent, but then I do a lot of stakeholders management. And I think that's, for me, is my definition of policing, managing in the corporate environment. But then, we're really keeping a sense of transparency and always be genuine towards, the different people that I face with.
Block 1. Alessia's professional DNA.
So to fully understand your future answers, we start by situating your background a little. What shaped you in your relationship with purchasing?
So for me, I think my engineering background is an asset, I feel, that helped me throughout my career. As I said at the beginning, because somehow I could, I had an understanding of the category I was managing without, knowing procurement.
Technical background.
But then I think over time is really how I analyze problems, situation, that analytic mindset, dissecting elements, and really questioning problems, understanding where the root cause of a problem is. So I think that one, which is not necessarily related with purchasing per se, but is really that sort of element, because in procurement there is a lot of problem solving as well. That said, together with it is really that element of energy, again, that comes from knowing that procurement is in a unique position to, I always say, bring the outside in and the inside out when I refer to the market. And that also shaped a little bit, how I am, that possibility to influence your internal stakeholders by bringing them insights that come from the market and how the market in a category is evolving, but also bringing those insights on how a company is evolving, the strategic priorities to suppliers, so they can eventually build new solutions for you. That also really, that kind of energy helped me to grow, into procurement. Yeah.
Have you had a mentor or a particular encounter that has marked your career?
Yes, there is one person that on paper is not a mentor,
Okay.
but is really the person that brought me into, procurement in the first place, and a leader that I highly regard.
Okay.
And I always say that if it was not thanks to me, a lot of things in my life would have not happened, starting from, my procurement journey, but also my move to Belgium, where then I got married and, where I, met my husband. So, that's really, is this leader that for me, I'm, although, we now professionally, we are not connected anymore, but I'm still, much highly regarding him and his view. And then, throughout also the journey, I met some other leaders that, were so inspirational that I really try to remain in touch, maybe once every year and all that. And that's really for, spot, question or really specific moments that where, I think I really, need their leadership or their view.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Do you have principles you apply in all your project procurements?
Yes. So, one is principle of transparency. For example, when we talk about suppliers, making sure that we treat them equally, and we really are honest with ourselves on how we conduct a procurement process. I think another important principle is principle of efficiency. Because a lot of time procurement, internally, the value is not always as evident, and why we need to spend time to conduct an RFP. So if we can be as efficient as possible in running our activities, then the stakeholders and an internal customer and the suppliers can really focus on the value and not on how long the process takes.
Okay. So transparency and value you bring to
and
the
efficiency.
stakeholder.
Yeah, and
efficiency.
efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Block 2. Today's procurement.
What you really think of procurement today. So we get at the heart of the podcast, your personal vision of the profession. What do you like about this job and what drives you on a daily basis?
So I think is really solving problems. So that's really, and okay, not to say that procurement is always problems, or like, let's put it differently, creating enabling opportunities.
Yes.
Enabling opportunities. So really, whether it's helping an internal customer or helping the team that is struggling or trying to find process efficiency. So that's really is the driving of the, as I said before, the breadth of the function, and the fact that you can really spend your time on the different levers that drive the value for the function.
Okay. What annoys or worries you about the recent evolution of the function?
So there is nothing that worries me, as far as we all as procurement professional really do not work alone.
Okay.
Like, it's very, very important that we are understanding the needs of the customer. If we understand well what the customer needs, the internal customer, and what the supplier needs, then there is nothing that worries me about the function. If, of course, like, we are building a function that is only about, strict rules and policy and process, which is very important and should be there. But then if it's only about that, that's when you get a distraction from where the value for the internal stakeholder is seen. That's where the function is not, they're not going to perceive as we should.
Okay. Is there a trend at the moment that you find totally overrated?
Yes, with regards to technology.
Okay.
So there are a lot of solutions in the market to conduct the procurement process in a very efficient way and all that. And then sometimes I feel that we look at those solutions without spending enough time before to streamline the process, to really evolve capabilities like category management. You cannot do category management if you're not a good category management, whether you have the best tool in the world or not. So that's a little bit this kind of belief that technology can make you the dream professional of the future. Then I think it's something that I'm a little bit skeptical about.
Okay. Most of the time, the answer we got is AI will or might replace buyers, but I don't think so.
But at the same time, I see that AI can really help a lot buyers.
Yeah.
But you need to be a good buyer to start with.
Of course.
And then you can ask a good question to AI, and then you can make your job very much efficient.
Of course.
So
And to me, procurement is also linked to the way you address also your stakeholders. And this is not a job that can be done by an AI agent. So for sure.
exactly.
For this, Okay.
Block 3. Convictions versus reality on the ground.
So sometimes we have strong convictions, but the reality of the organizations comes to shake them up. Is there a practice that you defend and that your teams or colleagues often challenge?
So I think procurement is a lot more beyond savings. And I think, this is something that we can all agree to. At the end of the day, if we don't bring the savings, then it's very difficult that the stakeholders will really listen to you for all the other value levers. And that's where sometimes I find a little bit of a conflict with the broader procurement teams that says, okay, we are much more than savings, and then they focus a lot on the much more.
Yes.
And they forget the savings.
Yeah.
And I think it's really about, finding that exact balance, because only savings is not good either. It's very transactional, it's very, short-term approach. So that I also agree. But then it's very important that we have a good discipline on that part to be able to be decent to the rest. It's difficult to do the opposite.
Okay.
And I think that's where sometimes I find myself in some very healthy debates with colleagues about, the value of procurement.
Okay. How do you build a robust procurement organization?
Yeah. So it's important that you identify first in the specific moment of your company what are the capabilities that are key the procurement can drive. And those capabilities will vary. There will be a moment when it's more category management. There will be a moment when it's more looking into process, operation, and efficiency. So that will vary. And I think we, make sure that those capabilities are there in your operating model.
Yeah.
And then you held the organization accountable to deliver to expectation with regards to those capabilities. So then really also the business can see that.
Okay. Okay.
That would be diversity, I think, is also very important. So it's something that diversity of all different elements, diversity of
culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, when we are in procurement, diversity of experience, because sometimes, someone that has always procured, let's say, one category,
Yeah.
will have that one view. But then also if you have, some people that have either procure more categories or that, have done procurement operation, but then now they are supporting category management, that kind of also diversity of a mix of capabilities is very, very important, I think, to really raise the bar overall for the function.
Okay. Is there a transformation you were leading and where you got challenged or you failed?
So yes, there have been a couple of transformations that I led where in both of them I got challenges, and I think it's fair to get challenges on those, and that's what I'm expecting. Otherwise, sort of me, sitting down and drawing a chart or something and then not facing it with reality. Challenges, different transformation because different context. In one case, the challenges were more about technology in the case because it was the right. So I'm not against technology, as I said, technology is something I look at it with, a little bit of skepticism, but I'm not against it. So then, sometimes it's difficult to build a business case on ROI of technology for the function. And that's really where the challenge that was put on the table, and that's where you need to see how to manage accordingly. Some other times is about you really want to grow, but then it's the usual challenges that any transformation could bring, like with budget, FTE,
Budget, yes.
and then at a certain point, then if that's those other type of challenges, you said, okay, what are those two things that I really want to do right, and then with the budget and the figures that you have, make sure that you nail then those down 100%.
Okay.
So challenges in transformation are healthy at the end. Failure, I wouldn't. I think the failures on transformation are, I mean, not failures, but some sort of moments that you say, okay, maybe I haven't considered this element.
Step back or just step down a bit, or
It's through the implementation phase. Why? Because implementation is when you really have the change management that comes in, and sometimes maybe it was was communication not done enough or not clearly enough. Did I not bring everyone on board as I intended to, and then led maybe to some people that high potential and valuable resources that somehow maybe have taken a decision to leave the organization because maybe the change management was not done in the right way. So it's the people dynamic that maybe in some cases put some challenges. Is that a failure? It's probably, I think it's impossible to go through a transformation thinking that everything will go fine.
No,
You need to factor in from the beginning that something will not go as you initially intended. And then you have to recognize those elements and then adjust.
yes, adapt and adjust.
Yeah.
Okay. Which negotiation are you most proud of?
The first negotiation ever was something I came back with, oh, wow, this is negotiating, So I remember I was, I was starting the category of construction, my first job in procurement. And then my boss said, okay, now you have to negotiate. I'm like, oh, I've never done negotiation. Yeah, okay, go and ask and assess and all that. So I remember, I read the contract. I tried to understand the stakeholders, what they needed and all that. I had a face-to-face meeting, and then, I asked something and I got something in return that maybe was not 100% of what I asked, but it was not just savings. And I remember the sense of, I came back so pumped up.
Yes, of
So
course.
that was super, super good.
Okay.
It was not the most complex negotiation in that case, but it was the first one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. You have known different sectors, such as finance, transportation, medicine. Which one is your favorite and why?
All of them. And then if there will be more, probably even more so. I think for me, there is each of the different industry that I supported gave me the possibility to expand my knowledge and to become, a more rounded person, not necessarily, yes, professional, but really person to, understand better economies, markets. So I think, there is no favorite.
How do you defend your projects when you disagree with your management?
Well, first of all, I try to understand why the disagreement, because I think it's very important to, it's not that I'm stubborn, but then, have I forgotten something that they are telling me and I'm just not listening? So that is the first element that I do, before there is a disagreement. I'm trying to understand the nature of the disagreement. If I really feel strongly about something, then what I do is really to spend more time to explain the why and the value. So that is really where, how I try to tackle those kind of disagreement.
Can be a bit of your influence with the American culture, because the the previous CPU that we received was also defending his project, always understanding the why and the how, etc. So
yeah, maybe it's part of my country, but I think it's also part of taking the accountability for it's your project, so it's your accountability to sell it. And if the disagreement is because you're not able to explain your project well, then spend more time on it. So I think it's really it's really as simple as
we
Block 4. Recruit, retain, develop.
What are the key skills you look for a buyer today when you have to recruit someone?
So soft skills.
What kind of soft skills?
The number one is influencing without authority.
So assertiveness?
Assertiveness, but not assertiveness with arrogance. Actually, it's probably more than us. No, I think it's really
Influence,
influence without authority, which means that, of course, you need to be assertive, you need to be clear, but you need to find a way to convince the stakeholders to do something that maybe they are not convinced themselves.
Okay.
Like, for example, running an RFP, and I think is a very common theme that we find in procurement. Then, stakeholders want to single source, and then, okay, why an RFP? I will have to spend time, and at the end of the day, I know already I will be working with that, so I think, how do you demonstrate that running an RFP is very important, and then influencing with authority. So that, I think, is really that. And the second important skill is project management.
Okay.
More and more, RFPs are they are like projects where the project manager is procurement, where we really need to fit in the timeline of the RFP into a macro scheme of other activities that needs to happen within the business. And I think it's very, very important that a buyer understand the role as project manager and take that accountability as project manager of the RFP. So of course, conducting the RFP is very important, but that kind of different lens to managing the RFP is key.
How do you judge and challenge a good buyer in 45 minutes?
I think how is the buyer assuming there is a certain category or like a cluster of categories, understanding how is this buyer understanding the market.
Okay.
Because for me, there is a process element, of course, when you buy, but then for me what is more important is that a buyer needs to be able to use the process to get to the outcome that is what is needed for the business. So how is this buyer understanding the market of suppliers? How is this buyer understanding the industry of the company? How is this buyer understanding the challenges of the business? So that business element and then market lens for me are very important. Of course, together with like experience in conducting RFP, but really, really understanding your role for the organization.
Okay.
To question and examples, of course.
Okay. So this is to me applicable for a senior or a mid-year buyer, but for someone that is not properly trained, such in Belgium, we don't have any schools training junior buyers. So what would you do if tomorrow you have to recruit someone that is 25 years old, that is telling you, okay, I want to be a buyer, but doesn't have any relevant experience proving that he can do the job?
I never had.
Okay. Maybe the case will, okay.
No, I think it's really about what are your drivers. If you're saying, like, I want to be a buyer, but, I don't have any experience, but tell me why you want to be a buyer. Because I think, like running an RFP and all that, like these are things that can be learned, and that's really the learning on the job. And then it's important that, we support the resources in their learning journey through training, that. But those are all things that can be learned. But then your motivation on why you want to do something, your attitude, and then those things, they are there or not.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a mentor to someone?
So again, in a similar way as I, mentioned, I don't have mentors on papers. I don't have, people that officially, I'm the mentor of. But I have some people that periodically reach out to me and they are interested in my view, whether it's on their career or, on maybe, like some sort of different advices. Yeah,
Okay.
but there is not an official mentor. Oh, hey, Alessia, can hi, you're my mentor. Can I call you? But I know my reference, let's say, to few people. Especially, that's actually that when I get, I enjoy it. People that are growing through, they're really at the beginning of their career path, and then they're interested in my perspective. That is a very, very is a I feel good about that I can help
Of course.
younger generation in their path.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you mean. Okay.
Block 5. And tomorrow, what vision for the future of procurement?
If I give you a magic wand, which CEO are you going to see? And what are you going to say to him as a procurement director?
So I don't think I will, I don't give you a name of one CEO specifically that I will be talking to, but if there will be a forum of European CEOs, I would be interested to have a debate on how, are these CEOs seeing, the economy overall between different continents, balancing and changing with different forces, market dynamics, political dynamics, and, how are these considerations shaping decisions within those companies, and is there a role for procurement to help in there?
Okay, interesting. If you leave procurement tomorrow, Alessia, what do you do?
So this is a question that it's I ask myself also, so as much I love procurement, but then also there is a point where I'm also enjoying the industry that I'm at, the company that I'm at, and then you ask yourself, okay, can I do something else? I think for me probably it would be operations.
Okay.
In an industry that is more the industry that I'm at now, or in manufacturing.
Okay.
That would be sort of a natural, so sort of going back to a little bit of my, engineering, but, from an operation standpoint or, planning also. So, supply chain, let's say.
Okay,
I will move from procurement to supply chain. So, to our friends next door.
Yes.
It's very much.
The next door.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. If you have to give one advice to the next generations of buyer, what would it be? One advice.
I think an advice to every generation at the end, whether you're a buyer or something else, find your passions.
Okay.
So if you are a buyer, you really, really need to enjoy running an RFP. So if you're seeing that running an RFP, you're focusing more on, the process, and it's long and it's, sometimes annoying, then, these elements over time will unbalance the equation of your passion to procurement. So really,
And just for the audience, what's the longest RFP in terms of months that you've run in the past?
End to end,
Yes.
1 year.
Okay. Well, that's quite fair.
Yeah, but it can be considered very.
Yes. It's quite okay. Okay.
Up next, the Q&A box presented by Meogroup. A fast, spontaneous format designed to explore our guests' personalities.
I ask you questions and it's binary. You just can answer. You have two options. So it's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Ready?
Long-term contracts or spot buys?
Long-term contracts.
Deep supplier collaboration or competitive bidding?
Competitive bidding.
AI agent or junior buyer?
Junior buyer.
Is procurement linked to technology or culture?
Culture.
One excellent supplier or many good ones?
Many good ones.
Risk management is proactive or reactive?
Proactive.
Cost control or risk mitigation?
Cost control.
In-house procurement teams or outsourcing?
In-house procurement.
Negotiations are more about winning or compromising?
Winning.
Is a supplier diversity a strategic priority or a nice to have?
A strategic priority.
Good. We're done. Thank you. Question signatures. So to conclude, 3 questions that we will ask to all our guests. Complete this sentence. Good buyers are those who, and bad buyers are those who.
Good buyers are those who understand what they're buying.
Mm-hmm.
Bad buyers are those who focus only on the buying process.
Okay. What is the most unusual request you have received in your career?
Oh, sourcing private jets.
That's nice.
Yes.
Where was it? Can you quote or?
One of the companies I worked before.
Okay, private jets. Okay.
And of course, only companies of certain sizes.
Yes.
Like
It was for the CEO, the C-levels, or
it's
okay.
for the CEO and the C-suite.
Okay.
So 2 private jets, so not only 1, 2.
Okay, 2.
And of course, we had a little bit of a moment of panicking because, how do we buy a jet? There is no knowledge and you don't buy a jet all the time. But yeah, okay, eventually we managed, but that was...
So it was to buy, not to lease, huh? It was, okay, wow, to buy. Okay, interesting.
So that was even more complicated, yes.
Did you get some Falcon from Dassault, or can you, what was it? American brand or?
It was American brand.
Okay. And last question: if you had to invite someone to this podcast, who would it be?
I would invite Farid Doumit. Farid is the person that I was referring before as really the one that got me into the procurement path. A very strong leader, and I think someone that can bring a lot of insights to the conversation and all these points that we discussed.
Okay, for sure I will propose him the seat. And now to conclude, thank you very much, Alessia. You just left the procurement room, but your ideas will remain there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you.
A special thanks to Alessia FERRARI for sharing their insights. Join us on March 3rd, 2026 for the next episode of The Procurement Room, presented by Meogroup.